What is up? Welcome to Numb Bills Fan live, sort of, kind of, on a video going to be uploaded everywhere. Podcast number 240. I am joined by Mike Smith, who is at Fantasy Smitty, FANTASYSMITTY on Twitter. And if you're watching the video, you'll see him in his little Russian with love hat on. It's kind of cute. And you'll see the green screen in the background. I'm sitting in the stadium. We got some snow coming in. And excited to be here. It's been a quiet little off season for Numb Bills Fan here. And as you can see, we got some new stuff. We got a koozie over here. I'll show it to you on the screen. It's pretty dope. You know, Numb Bills Fan, like my shirt. If you look, the shirt has a little logo of the script. I'll stand up. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Great. Anyways, then we also have this other stuff. Got this tank top from Rob Antonucci. Hold it up. Oh, ooh, 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 ooh. And what that does is it's icicles, okay, for a summer tank top. So again, if you're looking for designs, this is brought to you by Noochburger Designs on Instagram. So follow him. Rob is a great dude. He gets art over to you quickly. And as always, brought to you by Punch Drunk Sports, just friends of the show. So thank you to Sam Tripoli for supporting over the years and doing your Punch Drunk Network whenever your website drops out, 30 years later. So pretty stoked if that happens. But either way, we're here to talk about the draft. I got Mike Smith on the damn line. You guys know I love Mike Smith. A little background info. Mike Smith is really dope because I started breaking down the Bills out of boredom with my friends in this band, Fork Tongues. Chris Polk, shout out to him. And we would just like watch the Bills with our other friends. I'd go to the sports page on Monroe and just like be like, the Bills can't be this bad. I remember watching McColvin fumble. I was at the sports page, and ever since that, I've been more or less like a couple seasons prior, like, let's dive into it. The Bills can't suck. They got Bledsoe. They didn't help him out. He comes back around, says all this stuff like, they never helped me with my first round draft picks. McGahee didn't really help right away. He was hurt for a year. And frankly, they got Lossman, and you can't talk about that stuff as a pro athlete until you're well into retirement. So in hindsight, you hear all that, So I'm pretty excited to dive into the draft because if you're a listener of the show, you know that Mike has done a draft show with us. I believe the last 2 years, or at least definitely last year. Did you do the one 2 years prior, Mike?
I sure did, buddy.
You did. Okay, that's right. We had Drunk Dean on the side. We had Powerful Jeff Knight. Shout out, love Jeff Knight. And Drunk Dean
We
was in the room. It was fun, man.
we talked about donuts that year.
That's
It got,
right. That's
got
right.
pretty heated, donuts. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're here with the draft, and Mike Smith and I called it with Josh Allen. That's right, because Mike Smith had a quarterback breakdown, and he had Josh Allen as the 6th ranked for him. And I was like, no way they're doing it. And I never thought the Bills would be more loaded going into a draft than the year of Bean's first time at the draft. And the Bills took Trey White and traded out from Pat Mahomes. And say whatever you want, they passed on 2 league MVPs 2 years in a row. Whoever's fault or not that is, I don't know. To me, that's a big deal.
Well,
It's hard
I
to
mean,
call it that way, Mike. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, if you're going to take Josh Allen and give up all those things like we were talking about, you better have a landing spot for him. And I'll let you go with that. Do you want to give like a 30-second reset on where you sat with Josh
yeah.
Allen and lead us into now?
I mean, he's outperformed my expectations. I still don't know if he's the guy. He still going all the way back to then when I saw the tape. He still has to work on his accuracy. I'd like him to be able to hit that deep ball better. Um, but his ability to maintain the ball possession, I mean, that's improved over the years. So there is definitely positive things. Obviously, I was never worried about his running ability or his ability to extend plays. I mean, he definitely very athletic and can do that without question. It's the accuracy. It's what would take a mid or back end NFL quarterback and project them into elite status. That's what I'm looking for still. And it shouldn't be any question because he has all of the weapons that anyone could ask for now on offense. So we're gonna find out real soon next year.
In Josh Allen's defense, I don't want to say too little, too late for Josh, but year one they set him up with the same staff that trotted out Peterman. I was not about it. This is stupid because you're on a limited time with these guys. Sports is way different. There is no loyalty to the laundry. There's loyalty to the green. That's the only laundry you should care about. And frankly, if you're a human being and you work, you should be supporting the players and their options and them to do what they want to do. Fuck a hometown discount. Screw all that. And frankly, you wasted 1 year with Josh Allen. And then year two with Josh Allen, you just moneyball the offensive line, and I guess it kind of worked. But Cody Ford looks maybe to me a little bit overdrafted. They can't settle on whether he's a right tackle or right guard. And how long does it take? What I don't like is how long does it take to get an semblance of a decent offensive line? It shouldn't take that long. You know what I mean? It's just they made it look so hard, and then the kid gets destroyed, and you have your franchise quarterback and design runs and all this crap. And I like it, you win, but I want to see something consistent, and I'm willing to do that. But they frankly set Josh Allen up to fail year one, and you can't mess with his confidence. He had no veteran brought in for him. They put him behind Peterman. And you want to tell me trust the process? You put him behind the statistically worst quarterback in the league. And then you don't even have an offensive line for him. Oh, Incognito and Wood, we got screwed before the draft. Yeah, they left 2 months, like a month before, month and a half. Make adjustments. Maybe you just take Lamar Jackson when he falls to you. Is it easier to build around a Lamar Jackson and get offensive linemen who, what do they know how to do? They know how to run block, okay? You could have brought in offensive linemen with Lamar or another guy or Josh Allen with not Tremaine Edmonds per se, with other highly talented offensive linemen, maybe rookie year, or with Tremaine Edmonds or the year before, and start developing it. And can that offensive line coach, it's like they went 2 years with the offensive staff, and one of them got 1 year they got to be with Josh Allen, which is horrible.
The one thing that I do approve of this staff is their money management. They're not like pissing money away. They have literally righted the ship on all dead money. Their financial situation is very good right now. So the trade that they just made with Diggs, obviously we talked about. And then going into this draft, I felt like they were in a good position. And I think they did some things that I wanted to see them do, even though they weren't pressing needs. I just felt like, hey, it's one of those drafts and let's go this route. And they did. So let's kick it.
Yeah, dude. So let it be told, I texted Eric Turner at Cover One today. Shout out to Cover1.net. Big supporter of the show, fan of the show. And Greg Thompson out there. Great podcast host. Love listening to Greg. He's supposed to come on soon. So I have a notepad. And, oh, wait, you can't see that side's blank. But as you can see, all my notes so far has been on Drake Fromm, and I ran out of paper. And then I have everybody else. And, Mike, I got blanks. So this is the overview podcast. After this one, we're going to do the Jake Fromm cast, okay? And I'm pretty stoked to get into it. So this has been, I told Eric, I go, dude, Eric, this is my favorite Bean draft. And I don't want to speak for him because he's going to have some content coming out. And what he told me, we'll keep it to him. And he's he's pretty, I don't want to say good, bad, and different. He's going to have content coming out on Cover1.net. So I'm not trying to steal his thunder here. So let's dive into it, man. This is my favorite draft. Real quick, a reset. I had Kevin Maseri on episode number 238 or 239. And we talked about Stephon Diggs. Now, Mike, I have been very harsh on Brandon Beane because I frankly dug into the media of hook, line, and sinker. Probably listened to too much John Murphy show back in the day of, the Bills can't do wrong. And come to find out, Russ Brandon did make a lot of picks in the first round. Come to find out, that is the truth, because it's marketing. And I like the genius of Brandon Beane getting Stephon Diggs. I don't know how stoked Diggs is. Allegedly, he's stoked, but the Bills have a powerful public relations department. And I've always been sold to groom your guys from the previous regime, So that's why I'm kind of like, well, what the hell are we doing here? Well, Brandon Bean made a move, the one I like, which is I didn't want the Bills, Mike, to take a wide receiver year one and have to deal with this development time. I don't want to deal with transitional time. Screw that.
Well, I don't. I mean, I'm totally all on board there, but I feel like as time is going forward, I think the wide receivers are starting to come in. More wide receivers are starting to come into the league ready to perform year one than in previous years. But like I said before about the Diggs thing, it was a perfect time to buy because now you definitely don't have to worry about the grooming process if there was going to be one. And you have him at a perfect time of a contract he's already in. It's just like a new car. When you buy it, the second you sign that deal and you drive off the lot, it's depreciated in value X fold. And that's the same with signing a contract. Like once these contracts are signed, once they ink that deal, the first 1-2 years on that, they're making buku dollars. It's not cap friendly. It's nothing good. We got the second half of the contract, which is cap friendly and it's fair market value for a quality receiver. So I think it was a good move and it was worth a number one pick. And then, like I said, what they did in the draft, I think, is going to set the Bills up nicely to see exactly where Josh Allen is.
You know what?
You
I
know,
agree too because you and I are big fantasy players. You are a bigger fantasy football player than me. You actually got me into fantasy football. I was laughing at you and my friend Andy when you guys were playing, and then you guys won $1,200, split 600 each, and I was like, holy shit! And so then I got into it, and you're champ here. I won a standard league and converted my friend Sean Timmerman, who might see this, and I converted him to a PPR after that. Second year in the league, playing fantasy football, I won a championship. I won a title. You know what I mean? And, I won it my sophomore year and just, just is what it is. And thank you, Fred Jackson, for having an almost MVP season that year. And, yeah, that's called deep drafting, bro. So, anyways, you know, we followed this closely, and we knew that my trick to fantasy sports is always system changes, coaches changes. Average draft position is cute, but, like, you're taking a tally on to me, the normies, the sheep. Cool. That's what the sheep are thinking. I don't give a fuck. I care about offensive system, targets, yada, yada, yada. Well, we knew that there was going to be a problem with the more run-first offense in Minnesota with Thielen and Diggs. And the way it worked out is Diggs is out of there. And he put Kirk Cousins on blast. At the same time, I don't know if he's going to do that in Buffalo. I don't know if he's going to do that, but I feel like the quote unquote Bills culture of working hard is set up now to handle a guy like that, But this is also the same staff that had a leg up on Calvin fucking Benjamin, and he's the fattest receiver known to man. And somehow they fuck that up when you know that guy. He was in your building. And, like, we had the Carolina Bills now, And it's like that whole thing is this is the best draft so far for me, man. Like, Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, if you have a quarterback that can run an offense, there is enough weapons there to put Brian Hoyer there and fucking run it. You know what I mean? You can put Castle back there. You can get Cobb out of retirement. So, Stephon Diggs, any last word on that? Because I'm pretty stoked that the logjam worked out to the Bills' favor. And
yeah, I think we covered Stephon Diggs. Let's dive into this draft and you know, yeah, he's a solid pick.
So round 2, Bills had their first pick, and going into the draft, I put on Twitter, I said number 1, pretty much sneaky value because I personally like to have staggering contracts at positions. The Bills need a DN. They need a guy to replace Zoe. He was a very versatile linebacker. I mean, did a lot of shit. And he would even play like defensive tackle on pass rush downs, and very versatile. But you're not going to invest. You're going to do the Milano or use like a later pick, hopefully, linebackers or bring somebody in off the street. They're a dime a dozen. Now, a defensive end, I was stoked on if the Bills won it second round or a defensive back just for value. But the Bills seem to be fine at defensive back. They didn't take one until the 7th. So the Bills drafted AJ Epinesa out of Iowa with the 54th pick in the second round. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on him?
Well, I mean, watching the tape, he's a big guy. He's got great size. He was a 5-star recruit for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And he doesn't have the speed or athleticism that you see in a lot of the prolific pass rushers in the league today, but he can make plays. He's good with his hands and positioning. And here's a quote from Mike Renner. It says, if he falls to the second round, it's going to be a huge steal. His production on the field and his game is not athleticism. His game is power. His game is the way he uses his hands, and his game is versatility. So, Pro Football Focus had him ranked as the 20th prospect overall and the number 2 edge rusher. So I've seen him obviously lower on other people's projections, but I think it's a quality player. And I think, especially after getting rid of Shaq Lawson, which I would have liked to see them keep Shaq myself, but it's all about dollars. So I think in their mind, they feel that they got a player of equivalent value. Is he going to be he has the potential to be a future Pro Bowler. How long or will he get to that potential? We'll soon find out. But I think they got a great value with him in the second round for their first pick.
Yeah, people had him great in the first round. Runner from Pro Football Focus. Some people are hit or miss on Pro Football Focus. I don't know what to think. I do know that they were offering pretty much people like me, hey, fill out an email. You could scout tape, yada yada. Now, what I'll tell you is, there's something about Shaq Lawson that isn't that the media didn't let us know. I don't know if it's laziness, what it is, but I feel like they're nervous that they would have given that man some money. And me, I've been in Shaq Lawson's corner. I feel like he didn't get enough playing time. I feel like he is the forgotten first round draft pick of the Bills. Like, he's to me what Jerry Hughes was to the Colts, where like he didn't do shit at the Colts on his rookie contract. So he got traded, I believe, his third year for Calvin Shepard, third round pick former from LSU of the Bills during the Chan years. And, he's been, and I'm so used to seeing him explode off the line. I'm used to seeing Shaq Lawson pretty good off the line, good burst. And then Trent Murphy goes in there. It reminds me of no disrespect to these guys, but slow like Chris Kelsey. And then I'm like looking at the Epinesa tape, frankly, and no disrespect to that man. But he doesn't. Maybe it's just my eye on the tape, and I'm not. I'm talking some highlights. Eyes. He doesn't look like he fucking snaps quick. Yeah, he doesn't look fast twitch.
His game isn't speed. He's not gonna blow your mind with just athleticism. He's not gonna be faster than the other people on the other side of the ball. He ran just above a 5.0 on a 40 time, so it's not like
he's not explosive, dude. He doesn't look it, and it's kind of like
it's power. It's power. It's old school power, and like I said, he has the potential to be a Pro Bowler, but he is not
Pro Bowler. I mean, how good is his competition in Iowa compared to the SEC? You know what I'm saying, dude? Like his first sack was against Josh Allen, and the more I talk about it, I can't wait to dive in because we're going to do more deeper player breakdowns. This is just a quick overview. Like, I'm kind of nervous because, Mike, my heart is still broken. Like, it's almost sank the podcast because of Brandon Beane blowing all those draft picks that day we had the draft show. Because, like,
you got to understand.
The Bills still, Mike, listen real quick. The Bills still have so much cap space. They could have still signed Shaq Lawson.
They could. Well, I think, and they're not there, but I just feel like sooner than later, I think they're going to use that cap space on Trey White. It's just a feeling. I have no insight.
Well, whatsoever. They have to, but dude, they're also quote unquote, believe it or not, saving space for Josh Allen, which you have to. You want to develop him, yada yada yada.
Well,
but
that's
a scary thought to me because the homers are going to want to just sign it because, I love him. It's just like, dude, I posted on Facebook like 3 months ago, hey, Which by the way, I haven't even put out this podcast yet with the guy who was getting threatened from Baltimore, or I don't know, some crap. The guy who flew down to Baltimore to talk to the radio host who's talking crap about Bills Mafia. We were talking about this, and it's just, I don't know. Mike, back to you. Back to you. I'm over this. So,
No, yeah. So I think we're gonna be good right there. I mean, like I said, he's got power and some of the things you may not have seen in tapes where maybe attribute you would want, he makes up for it with his strength and the use of his hands. So um, we're going to see it on the field. I think you're going to see him get to the quarterback because of his other abilities, not his athleticism. So I don't think it was a bad pick. I think we're good there, you know. And then in the third round, they went with Zach Moss.
pick 86. Pick 86. So,
Yes.
what do you got for Zach Moss? He's out of Utah. A lot of people had him in the first round initially, and he's allegedly one of the last ones out of the top pack of running backs. So, you want to rail on that for a sec?
Yeah, no, this is a complimentary back to Singletary. Um, he is a bruiser. When it comes to running the ball, he breaks tackles. He broke 0.33 tackles per rush since emerging as the sophomore starter over there. So he is looking for contact. He's elusive. He's not explosive when it comes to speed, but they don't need that. So he doesn't have that home run breakaway speed. But pairing him with Singletary, he is going to put a hurting on the opposing team because he's going to lower his shoulder. He's a big guy, 5'10". I think he's like 220 or so. Not exact on that, but no, he's got size and he is very elusive and a very powerful. He's 5'9", 220.
Yeah, I thought it was 5'9", not to beat you on
Yeah,
that guy. Boy.
yeah, 5'9", 220. So he's a bruiser, and I like the pick. I like how they, um, with having a defensive minded coach, and we've seen it so many years. Like you felt like the whole time we had Rex, like they would just completely ignore the offensive side of the ball. It
I
was
don't know.
just
They brought in free agents for sure, but in all the drafts, and I'm sick of it with McDermott. It's all been like, we're going to address the defense first. We're going to back out the brink truck for Star
right.
Lotulelei because he's a lunch pail guy, and it's just like fuck
Exactly,
that. It's like
exactly.
you just
Focus.
told me that Darius sucks and can't be here when frankly that guy can
Yeah,
do everything Star can, and then like four other tools in the fucking box. So like I don't know what they want, what way they want to go with it,
yeah.
but
So the Bills, I definitely think the running back though, Zach Moss is going to be solid. He's not much of a like he can catch out of the backfield. He didn't get too many opportunities, but he definitely broke a ton of tackles. So I think pairing him up with Singletary, because I don't think they felt that Singletary could have handled the load by himself, but he is definitely going to be an improvement. No offense to Frank Gore, but Frank Gore was at the end of his run. So
hey man, let me rail on you with Frank Gore. And I'm going to lead you into Zach Moss. Two things. Frank Gore, I follow this very closely. It was different play calls and situations for Frank Gore that he shouldn't have been in when his stats started to dip. Rewatch the tape and you'll see he was fine. He was running for like 5 yards a clip for a minute, like for most of the time until like later on the season. Like he was actually perfectly fine, did his job. And now what I'm worried about, here's my nervous me. Pass protection is a big fucking deal in the NFL. Your quarterback is a big deal. Now you're going to have a second year running back out there for pass pro. You're not relying on TJ Yeldon for that. And you're going to have Zach Moss out there, a rookie in there for pass pro. I don't know,
well,
man. That's a lot of bets. And I thought they were going to bring in, I like having that veteran.
I think Singletary can handle it at this point. I think he's learned and he has that ability. But I actually think you're going to see a lot of empty sets this year. So don't be shocked to see empty sets by the Buffalo Bills because I think for the first time they have the offensive talent where that's possible. And then empty sets, they're tough to defend. I mean, if you go after the quarterback, then you're leaving one on one at all your skill positions, and you still have one on one with the quarterback and whoever's coming at him. And he's not the easiest person to take down if he sees you coming. So, um, Yeah, the Bills are definitely lining up for more offense of production this year.
So, what do you feel about Gabriel Davis, round 4, pick 128 for the Bills out of UCF, and he's probably the top AAC receiver. The
Nope.
Bills clearly, they've pretty much ignored receiver during the draft except for Zay Bus Jones. And yeah, so do you
No,
want to rail on that?
no, I like it. I like it. He's got a respectable speed. He ran a 4.54 at the combine. So he's got good speed, good size, 6'2", 216. Um, and he's young. Both the receivers the Bills took in the draft, they declared after their junior year, so they could have both gone back for another year. So he's only 21. He might not be the most polished route runner at this point in his career, but with his size and like you said earlier, you don't want to have to worry about that developmental period. Well, there's three. We already know who the top three receivers are in Buffalo, so he doesn't have to be on the field. He's coming in as a fourth, fifth option, um, in the receiving core, and it's going to give him time to develop in the routes that he already can do. They don't need any polishing on. Anybody can run a 9, a 7, easier routes. He's going to be able to come in and do those because he still has the Bills. I mean, at this point, add him to the roster. You got Diggs, Gabriel, and John Brown, who all have exceptional speed and can really stretch the field. So I like what they did with adding the two receivers because the draft class was so deep with wide receivers this year that okay, so you take a swing. All right, he might be a bust. Who knows? Maybe Hodges isn't a bust. So I like what they did by drafting two, even though they already have three legitimate starters. And I want to say, how many receivers are we up to? How many bringing to camp? We got to be bringing at least 8 to camp because I think they still have Isaiah
Yeah, I thought they
McKenzie.
always bring in like 9 or something like that. They
Yeah,
just
no, no,
the 9 and
no.
they trim down to like 5 or 6.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like the direction. I like the focus on offensive talent. So I think this is a great pick. Um, he's got a good catch radius. So, like I said, he's 21. So even though he's not the most polished route runner, that's something he can
Yo, dude, he's gonna be behind Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, and
correct.
you know what I mean, and John Brown, and they're three different types of receivers. And the thing is this guy, to me, he's almost more like a Diggs from when I was watching. He finds space. You know what I mean? He tends to find space, and it's like John Brown is more of your burner type, but he can run routes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, man. I'm
No,
glad that they did something with it. And dude, I was. It's not many times that I'm impressed with late round receivers because you gotta wonder like what they're asked to do. But the fact that there was no pressure on this kid, I like it even more. You
no,
know?
absolutely. Like I said, I like how they went strong on offense with this draft, and you know, I think he's got a great opportunity to make the team. Like a fourth round pick, there's no guarantee he's going to be on the roster. He could be a practice squad. He could wind up in some other city, but given his size, speed, um, and his ability, I think he could end up in the roster for sure.
All right, so pick 167, which is round 5 for the Bills. The Bills did what I posted on Facebook that I was talking about earlier, and I forgot to get into it because I digressed into nothing. I told on the Bills Mafia Facebook group the Bills should draft a quarterback, and I got literally death threats. It's like, oh my god, get out of here because Kyler Murray comes in as a rookie and puts up stats better than Josh Allen. So get the fuck out of here. Anyways, so the Bills take Jake Fromm from Georgia. And Mike, you rail on it. I have, as I showed on the screen earlier, a plethora of notes. So I'm gonna go back to writing the name on the
Well,
whiteboard for some cues
well,
here.
I mean, you we're gonna do a from special, so we'll keep it
Let's just
light.
keep it light.
He's not very big. He's not very athletic. He doesn't have the big arm. but he's a winner. He succeeded in the SEC, um, and he's pretty accurate with the ball. And his problem, like I said, he just doesn't have the arm talent as you would want from an NFL elite quarterback. But you know, there are many quarterbacks in the league with similar skills that have made a career. So I think that I think obviously based on what Bean said, he's like, he fell this far. He's like, at this point, we were just following the board. We were taking the best available player on the board, and he was by far the best player at that time, and they took him.
Yeah, that's
So
my bullshit meter going. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so real quick, my quick notes for you, because we're gonna do our special tonight or tomorrow or something. Um, Look at man, the first thing I got away from him was the complete opposite of Josh Allen. He does not have the arm. Okay, in fact, the combine knocked him a bit, and they put it on display, and he was knocked for putting everything he had into the ball. But his accuracy up until 5 games of negative 50 or less than 50% accuracy, which is just more of an anomaly when you look at his career. And if you look at timing, oh man. But the articles that come up on him are nuts. I mean, he was a top, PFF had him a top after his sophomore year. When he was his first year out, first year of eligibility, I believe. He was like a top 35 draftable player. Like would have went in rounds like 3 to 4 to them, I believe, last year. And that's the thing is you get these quarterbacks and he lost a lot of guys. In my notes, real quick, I just have he lost his number one pass catcher, which was a tight end. He lost a 1,000-yard rusher in his center. But what he does have that Josh Allen doesn't have is he's got touch, he's got rhythm, and he's pretty accurate with the ball. Now, if you look at his system, it's a little unorthodox, a little fucked up. Like the footwork is like a. I watched this QB coach thing. I got to credit the guy. I will on a special, but he pretty much pointed out the footwork, and I don't care what sport you're playing. Footwork leads to everything. And he's late. For example, you're throwing a go route and he's taking extra steps in his drop when that ball needs to be out quicker than it was. The guy breaks it down. I'll throw a link to you, Mike, and you can check it out. But nice breakdown. I feel he offers something where if Josh Allen goes down, he can run the offense. He could also be a Peterman on steroids. You know what
motivation.
I mean? That's what we talked.
It's motivation because you got to understand. Josh Allen hasn't gotten a big contract, although they've left space to give him a big deal, thinking and expecting him to be. If he digresses this year, that contract's not coming. He's not. He'll be in limbo like Jameis Winston. Like everyone thought after a couple years, Jameis, okay, yeah, and then last year he goes 30 for 30, 5,000 yards. It's like, well. He does this, but then he's
let me run one thing by you. You ready for this, dude? 78 touchdowns, 18 interceptions his whole fucking college career. This kid protects the ball. And and when you watch him, dude, his even in the SEC championship game, okay? He really fucked up. Like he had a very bad game. But you're going against an NFL defense, which is a great gauge to watch this guy break it down for an hour, the QB school guy. And man, he makes, dude, Mike, you got to watch it. Immediate decisions. He knows how to read a defense. Does he have some trouble with his eyes? Sure, but these college kids all need work. They need polishing. But if his biggest knock is his arm strength, fuck yeah. But
no,
again,
absolutely.
It's a 5th-round quarterback that was rated in the 3rd round of PFF. So
decision making is very big, and if you have a quality team, if you have a quarterback that's smart and knows where to put the ball and when to get the ball, you can always develop an offense for a quarterback. You know what I mean? So
correct.
I like the pick. Like I said, it puts Josh Allen on notice and says, "Hey, you're our guy, but hey, if you don't make this step or you don't take this step, we're not putting the farm. We're not giving you the keys to the house."
We'll dive into that one soon, Mike. So, because again, each player is going to have a little special. Even the kicker will have a 10-minute podcast on him.
Tyler Bass,
pick number 188, round 6 for the Buffalo fucking Bills. Kicker. out of Georgia Southern, Tyler Bass. Mike, what can you tell us about Tyler Bass besides the fact that he can kick 50-yard field goals with one step, with no offensive line in front of him?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of a mad pick. I mean, you're looking for someone that can. I mean, Hauschka's, I believe, on the second year. I think he just signed an extension last year. I think he's still got one more year on the
Dude,
contract.
Hauschka was fucking injured, right? Like, an injury
Well,
is going to throw you off. I don't.
yeah, and well, with 2 seasons with the Bills, he's hit just under, I believe, 80% of his kicks. So it's not like Hauska's been house money since coming to us. Um, but I mean, this guy, Bass, he's okay. I mean, he's not. He only made 20 or 28 kicks as a senior, which is nothing impressive. But he did over the last 2 seasons. He's made the most 40-yard kicks in all of college football. So he does have the ability. With kickers, it's just one of those things. Like you can have a phenomenal college career, come into the NFL. Look at Ricky Agallo. You know, yeah, where is he now? Exactly. He got drafted in the first round. He had a phenomenal career at Florida State, and he's nothing. Kicking's one of those positions. It's in their head. It's something that it's a rhythm. Um, I I mean, I used to kick. I mean, obviously, I never had the leg strength as these guys, but um, you know, who knows? Maybe he comes in and he's better in the NFL than he ever was in college because that's what he has to do. That's what he needs to be an NFL kicker. So I think that's just like, hey, he's got the potential to have the leg strength for longer kicks. So let's see what we can get. If not, you cut him and be done with it.
All right.
And
Other
that
sixth-round pick, number 207 for the Bills, Isaiah Hodges out of Oregon State. I have looked at nothing. This is where I stopped. I stopped at kicker. So I'm going to rely on you while I mark up my whiteboard here.
so he was a 6th round pick pretty much because of his 40 time. He ran a 4.61. So he's not blazing, but he's a big guy. He's 6'4", 210. Um, Again, like I said earlier, he came out 1 year early. He could have gone back for another year, so he's only 21. Um, he's a patient route runner. Um, and he's a tough guy to take down when he gets the ball, but he's got a wide catch radius. So um, last year he caught 86 passes for 1,100 yards in 13 TDs. So he has a knack for finding the end zone. You got to figure he came from Oregon. So when you're trying to compare players, one of the problems that you get is you have one player who's an elite wide receiver getting the ball thrown to him by an elite passer. So when you have an elite passer throwing the ball, you're getting more on target passes. You're getting an easier to catch ball. You're getting more opportunities. He didn't have that luxury in Oregon, but he still put up really good numbers. So again, I like the pick. I like the Bills going. So now we have a couple of size receivers. We got some burners. We got route runners. We got people that are good out of the slot. We got people who are good over the top, underneath, and deep. So we have the potential on offense, and he adds with his size a solid red zone threat. And who knows? He's only 21, and he ran a 4.61, which is not fast by any means for given his size. I mean, that's not too bad. But he
How did he comp in like the other drills? You know what I mean? Is his agility there? We'll dive into that another time. Can I
yeah, we
just
can
ask you a
dive in.
question to wrap up on this guy? Is
Yeah.
he the typical just throw it off, he'll go and get it guy, or is he more of a box out? Like, what is he?
A little bit of both. I mean, he knows how to use his size, and I mean,
Does
you
he
have
got
to be
good
able
feel?
to.
You think in his routes?
Yeah, he's a patient route runner. And he can track the ball well. So
Okay.
he is a guy that you can just throw out there. And like I said, they're wide receivers, so we don't know who's going to hit and who's going to miss. And I like the fact that they said, hey, let's take two. And I think that and this also goes to our running back who was just drafted. Zach Moss had injury, so he's coming back. So he was a little slow. I think a little more time and under better training facility and better regimen that he may have had at college in the NFL, he might be able to actually gain a step. And I think that's also possible with Hodges as well. So maybe a little different training regimen, and maybe they can get his speed up just a little bit. But
Okay.
um, I definitely think it was a solid for the Bills to go 2 wide receivers, and I like
So
it. But like I said, they're
last
both young.
last pick, Dane Jackson out of Pitt, 7th round pick, number 239. Now let me go. He's a cornerback. Now let me tell you a little something. I'm gonna lead this off. I don't know fucking shit, but I do love Leslie Frazier. As you know, I followed the Vikings really tight 2 years back, and I'm a big Leslie Frazier guy. I mean, he's awesome, and I support that dude. You know, on that legendary fucking team back in the day with the Bears. And you know, he's in the shuffle video. He's a legend. He clearly did it. He won it, and they know how to develop defensive backs. That's Sean McDermott's position, as well to specialty. So I trust him, and I gotta say, I don't mind having a round 7 defensive back come in. Now, granted, could these guys all get cut, Mike? Sure. Are they gonna make the team? Sure. Maybe not. You know, a 7th round pick, probably not. But I get really excited on the undrafted free agents, which we'll talk about in another episode. Now, what I like about this pick is I'm curious to see the development of them. So, do you have any thoughts at all?
No, I think I have a good reason as to why they picked him. It's obviously this late in the draft. You're trying to find whatever you can gem if possible. But I think they took him because his competitive spirit, like it shows on tape. He definitely got picked on beyond that, but you can see that he doesn't back down and he doesn't give up. So I think pairing that just mentality with uh, the Bills' defensive uh, system, I think he's going to fit in well. And I think that they're going to have room in nickel packages that they'll probably be able to roll him out in. But he's not, he's fearless. And I think that little different coaching, coach him up a little bit, because he definitely got picked on. He gave up 20 red zone TDs, so he definitely got picked on. But remember, he was on a team ACC. He had some steep competition at times where you're gonna get picked on when you're getting scored on a lot. They got to score.
You
They
think
got
it
to
just
score
has
points.
that mentality? There must be something in this game they think they could coach out of him, if the coaches even saw him. You know what I mean? Because
Oh no, no. I mean, he's got good size, 6 foot. Um, you know, like I said, if you watch the tape, you can see that it's not that he gave up at any point. He never backed down. I think they took him because you can see he's in it and he gives his all every single play. So I think in their mindset, they can say, look, we see what you did here, here, here. We can see why this was the result on these plays. We could fix that.
right.
We think that from what we see on the tape, that if we make an adjustment here, here, and here, that you're going to be just fine. That you're not going to be giving up these plays in our system. So I think that they liked his fiery nature on the field, and because that's something you also can teach too. Like you have people that are just kind of there riding their talent, and you have people that their motor never stops. So I think when you see that, and if you think you can make an adjustment and make that player better, perfect, take them.
He's a hard
So
worker, man. So, and that's the thing is a lot of these guys, dude. I mean, look at he's picked number 239, and my coolest part about my again to reset this whole thing and to offer a closure here. Um, Mike and I followed this draft for a long time together. We went to a couple draft parties that we've been invited to. Or as in, like, we just go to a bar with our dumb Bills gear and we win stuff out of the raffles. We kill it. So I follow this a lot with you, Mike. And I got to say, Pretty functional draft. Not a lot of, not a lot of flash or pizzazz. Maybe Zach Moss, which in hindsight could be a better player. He looks more to me like reminds me of a lot of people are saying Travis Henry, and other people are saying maybe Beast Mode 2.0 because like you were saying earlier, dude, his yards after contact are ridiculous.
Yeah, he's a
So,
battering ram.
and guess
And I
what?
think that just fits with what the Bills want to do. They want to beat you up. I think they're going to run. Now they got all these offensive weapons. They're definitely going to stretch the field. And I think they're to the point where they're like, hey, we're going to exploit you any way we can. And like I said, I think he's a solid complement to Singletary, who has that speed and the ability to catch. I think the Bills definitely, and I already told you this. I think they're definitely players that I'm going to target in my fantasy league. I normally would never tell, hey, target some Buffalo Bills players in your fantasy. I think that you can this
I
year.
don't think you do that, Mike. I think you're crazy, and you do this every year, and we're not talking about this right now. So, like, we can have our fantasy Bills podcast. We're gonna leave that right there. We're gonna end this
Josh
podcast.
Allen is going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback,
All
Dave.
right, so
I
that's
mean,
on another episode of Mike Smitty coming to you soon. Josh Allen fantasy, because Mike Smitty is gonna start doing his own podcast feeds that email to me, and we're gonna fucking badge him with his own intro music, and we're gonna put him up on the feed. So
it's got to go.
Mike. Now I gotta
I
go
make
into the
my own
level, and I
beats too.
gotta
You guys,
you
you guys
now
didn't
you
know.
just
I
ruined everybody's ears right now. I mean,
also make my own beats, guys. That's things come to beatboxing.
that's Mike. If you're looking on the screen, brought to you by NumbBillsFan.com.
Mother
Now, real
Russia.
quick, this shirt that looks sweet. Yeah, that's right. They're for sale. $21 shipped. I got the ad coming. Now this tank top
I don't
thing.
have a shirt.
Yeah, I got one for you, bro.
I
This
don't have a
tank
shirt.
top, again, designed by Rob Antonucci. This is pretty fucking sweet. All right. If you're watching on the camera, you're missing out. It's blue. It's got a red outline of a helmet. It says Numb Bills Fan with the classic graffiti thing. It's got 3 icicles underneath it. Because, it's so hot out, you want to be cool that you wear a shirt with icicles on it. And actually a tank top with icicles. And then we have a Numb Bills Fan koozie here. It's holding up my sign. Move that back. And as you can see, it's the same logo that's on my shirt. And pretty stoked. So check Numb Bills Fan out. If you want to shoot a DM or an email, Dave at numbbillsfan.com. And I can hook you up with some stuff. And also working out on a package. I have some little ad flyers and stuff. But I've actually had all this stuff made, Mike, in the summer before the season. And I was just like too fucking lazy to like post ads and do all this stuff. Because that's how much that Josh Allen draft pissed me off, Mike. Okay. And I love my second and third round picks. And they're gone. They're all gone that year for 2 players into a bad system. Like,
Well, Josh Allen's going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback, so maybe you can put him on your roster and thank the lucky stars that you got him.
well, maybe the Bills can develop a quarterback and I'll be fucking happy. But I don't know because ever since that New England game last year, Josh Allen can't hit a deep ball to save his life because they must have gotten his head. And Brian Daboll, use your fucking head right on the TV there. Remember that? I was watching, shout out to Tim Avery. I was at his wedding, which he texted me too. Remember Tim Avery? You ever meet Tim Avery? He used to write for numbbillsfan.com, and he is hopefully soon again. So I got to get him on. Mike, any last words? Brought to you by Punch Drunk Sports Podcast. And, if you want a shirt or something, hit me up. And I have other podcasts coming too. One's going to be called Burnt Coffee Podcast if you're into getting to the bottom of shit. Another one is going to be called Work Logs, which is going to be funny work stories. Another one's going to be called Garbage Time, which is going to be just me talking mad shit. Just fire up a camera and just fucking go. So, Mike, do you have anything you want to promote besides yourself? What is your company that goes between Buffalo and Rochester?
Oh, Mike's Assembly and Repair. We're assembling fitness equipment, outdoor equipment, furniture, anything with nuts and bolts, kids' play sets, pergolas, pavilions. If you need it put together, I'm the best guy around. So, hit us up, find us on Facebook, or get in my DMs.
Yeah, and if you're looking for any drywall remodeling work from me, yours truly, David Palermo, I do travel to Buffalo. I'm out of Rochester, New York. But I do travel to Buffalo. I have friends there too that can help you out if you need any light duty interior stuff, painting, drywall. Specialty is drywall. So if you have a textured ceiling like at Mike's mom's house, I can get that bitch down for you and make it smooth, real smooth, and even paint it. So again, this has been Numb Bills Fan. That's Mike Smitty at Fantasy Smitty, FANTASYSMITTY on the Twitterverse. And I am your host, David Palermo here. And it's been real. Can't wait to break down all these players. We got the Jake Fromm one within a day or two. So again, tune in everywhere. Numb Bills Fan on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook too. So do that shit. Mike, any last words?
No deuces.
Deuces. All right, that's Mike Smith. See ya.